It's the Sunday show. It's the No Name Sunday show. Coming to you, live and proud, from southeast London. Where's Naz?
I'm here.
She's doing her face. She's doing her hair. She's gonna appear. She's gonna look like a bear. There she is. Come on, baby. Let's get this show on the road.
Do it now. Welcome to the No Name Sunday show.
We got a usual menu of all the things that we normally do, like food and memes and Teddy Talks and Nads doing a strange wiggle at some point in the show. Do the wiggle. Happens every time. You never know where it's coming, but it always lands. We got the dogs, we got my book, and that's your life. Say hi to the folks. Woof!
Oh, Mark! That's so annoying.
So let the dogs out.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
It's about what?
Who let the dogs out?
That's what they say who when we do that. But we're talking about ugly girls coming into the club.
That's so not right, Nad. You're terrible, bringing such terrible things in. Nat!
Yeah.
Where are you?
Just looking at the shithole that
Oh,
comes in the
don't come in here and give me that
room. As
malarkey.
bad as my room upstairs.
Yeah, it's not good, is it?
Bad.
Ooh, it's not good.
It's bad.
Right, Nads, I want to tell you about something they've discovered recently, which I researched after you did your dish. There is actually a bird, believe it or not, called the kedgeree-gar.
Is there?
Yeah,
Right.
and its head, no, seriously. No, seriously, I promise you.
You
And,
think I came down with yesterday's rain?
and its head looks like a boiled egg.
Oh my God. I just told Mark what we're making and he went, oh, I don't like that. It's so frustrating because I know he'll love it because actually it's a real favourite with my family, and my dad's coming round tonight and my mum, and we're going to have it in the garden. And it is kedgeree. Kedgeree, which is originates from India, but of course it was last days of the Raj time, because it was actually the Brits who invented it, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was a dish that was bastardised by the Victorians
Yeah.
into something that we now understand.
Yeah, exactly. What I mean is the way we understand it
Yeah.
now is what is something that they invented. So there's all sorts of things that go on in a kedgeree, but actually the simpler you keep it, the more delicious it is. You don't need loads of cream and loads of butter and all of that. You just need really lovely fish. Now I've got a smoked haddock here, line caught smoked haddock. Hasn't got loads of dye in it. And we're just first thing we're gonna do is just really simply poach it. So, skin side up, put your haddock into a pan, gently cover it with boiling water,
I
And
thought
then
you
on a
always poach.
very low heat.
I thought poaching happened in milk.
Can do.
Yeah.
Just a very low heat. I'm just going to cook it until it's cooked through. Very low heat. That could be between 8 to 10 minutes, depending how thick your fish is. Pampered chef. Quite a few of you were asking me the other day on the line. So we need chopped onions. I remember Jamie Oliver said that I think his first few months at catering college, he just had a massive bag of onions that he just had to cut all day, just practice. So you don't want to go mad with any of the ingredients. It's not massively oniony. It's not massively spicy. It's just a really lovely, light, fragrant dish. Okay, so some oil. You could put butter if you fancy being a bit more decadent. You could fry the onions in a nice big knob of butter, which would be rather wonderful. In my onion goes. Nice and slow. You don't want them browned. We're just going to cook them till they're nice and soft. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add a bit of butter. I was being healthier and I thought, let's just have the onion, but actually the butter too is so nice with the onions and rice. So they're nearly there. Just going to soften them a bit more. It's a relatively easy dish, this. It's a very easy dish, in fact.
Gucci, are you really hot, darling? You are, aren't you? You look like a hangdog. Yeah. You feel really hot.
Okay, so next I'm going to put a couple of cardamom pods. This gives a really nice exotic flavour. Sorry, green cardamoms, and I'm just going to just bash them down a little bit. You don't want to grind them up because you want to be able to find them and retrieve them. I'm going to fry them in with the onion to release the flavours and the aromas. My dad loves cardamom, loves it. So now some medium curry powder. Oh, that's lovely. About a tablespoon. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, that smells so good. Salt in, black pepper, plenty of. Give it a good stir. Now I'm going to add 250 grams of rice. You might be thinking, that's weird, put the rice in with the spices and the onion. But then you get a really lovely flavoured rice, and the spices are running all the way through the rice. You can, if you want, not stir it quite so well, if you kind of want the rice half white and half yellow, but I like it like that. Just get all the little bits down because you don't want to get a crunchy bit of rice. Whoop. A little bit more salt. With boiling water, just wash those little bits down. About an inch above the water. And then I'm stir it once and turn it right down, right down. The rice will absorb all that water. Put a lid on it, turn it right down. I reckon that will take about 8 minutes. So it's Mark says he hates kedgeree because he hates the boiled eggs. So don't have the boiled eggs. Straight into boiling water. Lower them gently, don't just drop them in because then they break. It's weird because you wouldn't think a haddock would be, you wouldn't think of haddock in India, would you? So look, that's ready, and we know it's ready because it's completely white now. Yeah? Yeah. Right, really want to drain that water off onto a piece of kitchen paper. Come on, tell me about your trauma with the kitchen.
I think they diced the egg up and it was throughout it.
Oh no.
And I hated it.
No.
It was just like every mouthful I had a boiled egg. I thought, sod this. And then I had bones too.
That is so good. So I'm going to take off the skin and just flake the fish. Okay, let's have a look at our rice. Oh, yummy. How good does that smell, Mark?
Flipping great.
Tell them.
Gorgeous.
So this, we forgot to say, is is it a brunch?
It's actually traditionally a breakfast.
Yeah. Oh my God, we've got to find the 3 cardamoms. Cardamom. Oh, cardamom. I have to say, I'm not a massive fan of cardamom, but just a little bit like this.
I like the flavour they bring, but I just don't like them.
Parsley. Mark hates it, as we know, but it's very necessary, I think. Now, actually, the proper herb to add to this is, of course, coriander, because that's an Indian spice. But Mark really, really hates coriander, so I'm not putting coriander in. Another nice thing to add, and I would add it if we had some growing in the garden. Mark, can you grow me some chives?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so let's save a little bit for the top. Chives, a big bunch of chives in this would be just gorgeous. Stir in the fish. If any of you guys have a go at making this or any of the recipes and you want to post it on Instagram and tag me in, and then when I see them, I do repost them. Don't always see all of them, but you know what I'd really like with this, but I'm sure it'd be seen as terribly common to do it. Some mango chutney.
Oh, right, yeah.
I would say put some chutney with this, guys. It's not tradish, but do you think you'll want more fish or more rice? Equal. Now, I tell you what's really nice with this, guys, is, and I meant to buy some and I forgot, quail's eggs. Maybe that's what you had and they mixed them in, Mark. I think you can buy them made, yes you can buy them boiled and peeled, and I would recommend that. Oops. Ah.
It's a great looking thing.
Tomatoes. Finish it off. Et voilà. Oops. Et voilà.
Oh.
Gadgery.
So where are we off to today?
We are off to the memes.
Yeah.
Yes!
Oh, well done.
Hey guys, it's the memes, and today Kiki isn't here. She's with friends, socially distancing in a park, in the wind, trying to avoid all the illegal raves that are going on everywhere and all the mad machete-wielding nutters. So, let's get to it. It's Maddie, and it's
The memes.
Nadia.
Oh.
Well, yeah, Nadia meme. Mimi Nadia. She used to call you Mimi. It's Mimi and Maddie. Mimi.
I haven't got a meme, but I've got something that I found very funny. And it's a rant. Do you think we could play that, or would that
Totally,
not work?
it's funny
Because
stuff.
I think our subs might quite like it.
It's called now, the section's called Teens Funny Stuff.
But I'm going to do some funny stuff too.
But you're not a teen.
No, but I'm going to be now.
Okay. I've got my eye on the dates.
As long as it's just your eye and not your fingers.
I got your fingers and my toes. Let's go. You look lovely, Maddie.
Thanks.
Oh, I thought it was going to say me then.
Well, you always look lovely.
Me when the cocktail bar's open again. That's Dave, you know.
Yeah. Did he genuinely fall over?
Yeah.
It's funny, I didn't expect
And
Dave to look like that. I thought he'd be bigger.
There's this video where he's put like a swirly effect on his phone and he's having to try walk down the stairs just looking at the swirly effect.
So there's a challenge. You walk down the stairs,
God,
you
that's
skip a
so
step with this thingy. You gotta look at it. My toes looking mad, but you can't see shit. All right, so I'm a. So there's a challenge. You walk down the stairs, you skip a step with this thingy. You gotta look at it. My toes looking mad, but you can't see shit. All right, so I'm a. Oh shit! So there's a challenge. You walk.
He's fine though. No, this video is so funny.
Raymond! Oh my god.
It's a bug.
Ooh, get it, Raymond! What are you doing?
Wait.
Get it! What is it, Raymond? Get the
Raymond! That's so funny. It's
Oh
when
my
the dog.
god. Ooh, get it, Raymond! What are you doing?
What's the chance of that happening?
What is it, Raymond? Get the
It's so funny. That's like me when there's these two boys in the car and they're like really, really high, but they're like asking the stupidest stuff, and it's so funny to watch.
Bro, I just found out something, bro. So you know mosquitoes, right? They bite you, and they have your blood, right? Mosquitoes carry your blood, right? So that means they have your DNA. And so when you give birth, technically, you're his baby daddy. Mosquito.
Well, you want to hear a better question? So when you put your shirt inside your pants, you're tucking in your shirt into your pants, right? So when your shirt is out of your pants, does that mean that your pants is tucked into your shirt?
So good. It's so
The
funny.
realisation of the enormity of
Me thinking that summer was cancelled, but everything is now reopening. Trying to get fit really quick. This is what they're joking about. This is what girl conversations are like. They make no sense. But
I don't know, I just felt like the whole time the vibe, so you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and like, I don't know, I just like felt it. There's just something, it just felt like really like, yeah, like, I don't know, oh my god.
that makes no sense.
that is your proper airhead
The
conversation.
whole time the vibe, so you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and like, I don't know, I just like felt it. There's just something, it just felt like really like, yeah, like, I don't know,
That's like the conversations of the girls in my book have. Funny.
Pubs can reopen from July 4th.
That we will also reopen restaurants and pubs.
Was that her telling him that he was through? To
Yeah, yeah. Girls, when you use yo to address them.
Or mate. Our equivalent would be mate. When a bloke calls you mate.
Oh yeah, you'll find this one really funny. So this boy's got loads of mosquito bites on his feet, and he's put on this really strong cream to try and make it better, but it's like really, really painful. So watch it.
So that's how it looks.
Wait.
But now it's time for the big leagues. I'm not ready for this. These are gonna hurt so much more. But I wanna go viral. So bad.
What is he putting on it?
I don't know.
I'm
It's
gonna
some
try to
bite
have no
thing.
reaction.
Yeah, this one's fine. It's the next one. Wait.
Try not to know.
Hey, that wasn't bad. Okay, now for the one on top of it. Shouldn't hurt.
funny.
She's trying not to scream.
Yeah.
I love the way he says, I just want to go viral.
Yeah. That's not a dog, that's a doll.
What's up?
Oh, I love that one.
When he turns.
That's so funny. He should be called Snoop Dogg.
And then you'll get this or you won't, so. Right. And I'm yelling. It's where the dad's just backing her up in the back.
It just really tickled me. It was actually Perez that posted it. Well, I think you should look at it too at the same time. You can film it. You don't need our faces.
Because I'm a little fucking pissed off at the simple fact that people around this town don't wear the mask, don't wear their gloves. I just finished showing a house right now. The lady was pissed off because I asked her to wear a fucking mask. Like, seriously, woman? And then she's coughing 2 seconds later. Like, it's no goddamn big deal. We're in this shit because of fuckers like that. Because people out there on their goddamn boats doing all their bullshit, partying. No, I'm not jealous. No, I'm not. Because you know what? I have a fucking yacht. I could go out with my friends and party, but there's a goddamn time and place for everything. And now it's not the time and place. Now it's the time and place to be taking care of yourselves and the people around you. There are people dying. There are people in hospitals risking their lives because of motherfuckers like you who won't wear your mask, who don't wear your gloves.
She's not wearing a mask right now.
Yes, Miami's a party town, but the truth is, you know what? There's a time and place for partying and everything. Now is not the time to party. This shit, what? Oh, well, only in Miami, only in Dade, only in Florida. Let me do it for a fucking video, for a fucking meme, for a fucking goddamn TikTok. Wear your fucking mask, wear your gloves, or we're gonna be quarantined all the way till goddamn September. And we may be spending fucking New Year's in our house because of you fuckers out there who don't wear your mask. And you know what? I give a fucking goddamn rat's ass if you guys get pissed off at me, don't like me, and you know what? You delete me off your social media. You'll probably be doing me a favor. I don't need fuckers like you. Wear your fucking mask, wear your gloves, so we can get the fuck out of our house, you dumb fucks.
Jesus, babe.
No, but I think what's so brilliant about that, she just harnessed. You know, sometimes when just the rage gets you. I mean, it could be anything, but she's just that eloquence that comes with that rage. I thought she was brilliant.
Very funny.
Do you like her?
Yeah.
She was in her car. That's why she didn't have a mask on.
Yeah.
It was funny. Did you find it funny?
Yeah,
it was.
Rageful.
Sorry, but it's true. Even lovely things, Pooh. So do you, and you are lovely through and through. We've never shown you all our little birdies over here.
You know, boys genuinely think girls don't poo.
I know.
It's true. It's news time. And talking of toilet paper, that's what we're going to use this week's newspapers for.
Were we talking about toilet paper? Are you
Well, you were
scratching your ass?
Are you showing a bird shitting? Papers. Come on, tell us what you got. How are you this morning?
How are you? I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Self-driving breads. Breads. My brain.
Self-driving bread. It's like a baguette that gets you to the
beds.
hotel on time.
This is a new invention. An engineering company that were upset at the numbers of porters that were contracting COVID and sadly dying, and the numbers are big.
Right.
And so they have designed a robotic bed.
That's quite a good idea.
Which in one way, because it will make it, you know, obviously less transmittable, if you know. But then I thought, well, yeah, that's great, but that's a whole nother job taken.
Well, yeah, there is that.
So now there's the porters have lost their job.
Yeah.
They're just creeping in on everything, aren't they, robots?
But how likely is this? Is this a suggestion or is this a... I mean, I remember when I went to the first ever Yosushi restaurant, they had drinks dispensers. The waiters that gave you the drinks was a robot that went around the fringe of the whole restaurant, and you just reached down.
Oh yeah,
and
what
said,
happened
stop.
to that?
Didn't
Too
work.
difficult.
Kept breaking
Well,
down.
there's some state funding, £50,000, which isn't that much.
What if they break down?
Right. Okay. This for me, and if you disagree with me, and you, is it your?
No,
Is it your?
no.
If you disagree with me on this, I'm okay with taking it. I do get a bit annoyed with people constantly saying, oh, the woke warriors and everyone's gone mad, because I think we really do need to look at our language and lots of our behaviours and all of this. And maybe this, because this is very personal to me, that I don't agree with that sense here, and I think this has gone woke mad. So, 3 major food magazines have bowed to social media pressure after being accused of hijacking ethnic dishes. Right? So, Bon Appetit, BBC Good Food and Olive have been criticised for taking credit for recipes originally from foreign cuisines. So, for instance, you know, the perfect korma or the this or that. So apparently they are now reviewing 13,000 recipes and have removed dishes with names such as an Asian salad.
I don't understand.
Now,
I literally don't understand.
I just don't think we should bet. Well, that we've appropriated other cultures' dishes.
Inspired? Affectionately
I would
embraced?
say that it's... Right, for instance, if I'm ever cooking a recipe, say like a curry, I always say, don't I? I always say, God, anybody of Asian descent watching this is probably going to be going, oh my God, how can you call that a curry? Because I'm doffing my cap to that. I did get very upset when Waitrose brought in that hummus because this woman's story was so incredible and she'd been brought up in Surrey. And I thought, how can your story be incredible about your discovery of hummus? So I kind of get it.
Yeah.
But I think that what is the genesis of any recipe? So could we get that way about ingredients? So say, I mean, for instance, I do a kicking fried chicken, and the reason I call it kicking fried chicken is I put a bit of chili in it and I put some coriander seeds. Okay, so what could I be accused of there? Right, so I've taken the chili from what country? I've taken the coriander from another country, right? My father's Arabic, my mother's from Epsom. You know, what bits of it am I allowed to use that I haven't appropriated from that side of it? I just think it's, apart from anything else, it's almost impossible to police it.
I'm sorry, I'm so flabbergasted by how utterly ridiculous this is. Because at the end of the day, surely, this is the bit of all of this I don't understand. On the one hand, it's really important that we recognise cultural differences and cultural specificities so that, you know, this is this, because there's great pride in those cultural identities.
Yeah, exactly.
And then at the same time, if you identify them or name them or are influenced by them or have some kind of fusion food, you're doing something wrong.
No fusion food?
Well, that's ludicrous.
Like Bon Appetit has launched a similar review after one of its writers, Alison Roman, was criticised for her recipe for a spiced chickpea, coconut and turmeric concoction, which critics pointed out was a watered-down Indian or Caribbean curry, though its ethnic roots were not made clear, right? She was lambasted by social media users who called her Christopher Columbus of food influencing.
Oh my God. I mean, obviously there's huge... I mean, you've done a dish in the show this week, kedgeree, that is a British imperial hijacking of an Indian dish. But... you recognise that, you identify that. Are you saying you don't? I don't understand. This is a given. Are these the sort of culinary equivalents of statues? Is that what's trying to be
right.
Curious.
What I really wanted to say to you guys, if I've missed something, and I have had that feeling when people have gone, oh, this is my hummus. I think if I'm missing something and this isn't woke madness. I'd really like to hear comments.
Okay, so we keep hearing about illegal raves everywhere. I mean, I went to illegal raves when I was younger, mutoid waste and all that kind of stuff. You know, there's the illegality of it, and then there's the coronavirus social concern of it. And then there's the sort of rabid desire for partying and being let loose, and then there's the generational thing. That's all quite normal. But what's interesting is that apparently Manchester police are saying that at the back of a lot of these illegal raves, the DJs are actually being paid and bankrolled by drug dealers in order to create, because they've got no marketplace for their drugs. Or, I mean, you know, they are selling drugs still. Obviously, you can smell spliff bloody everywhere. There must be. But the point is that they are creating sort of small marketplaces, these raves, for drug dealers, regional drug dealers, to sort of have a fast and furious
Gardens market.
It's a pop-up market, a pop-up organic market.
What's that story?
And I just think it's kind of amazing, you know. These are illegal raves, says one police officer. These legal raves are being organised by idiots who don't give a shit about what they're doing. I haven't read that story, so I don't know.
Well, just because that headline interests me. Swimming pools won't reopen for the summer. Outdoor swimming pools.
Yeah.
But we can get on a plane and sit right next to somebody.
Well, I mean,
It
there's so
seems to
many
me
examples of
everything
that, aren't
that
there?
is exercise, that is around exercise, is being held back.
Well, yeah, but everything around inebriating the population
It's
so that they can
open.
be softened and made to forget about the horrors of things. I do feel that there's a little bit of mind manipulation going on here. They don't want, and the irony is, in fact, although I
Makes me really
haven't read
cross.
that story, I'm going to flip straight into my next one if you don't mind. That would necessarily help this story, which is today childhood obesity crisis has been made worse by lockdown. But get this, 1 in 5 of 4-year-olds is classed as overweight by the time they start school. 1 in 5.
That's a lot.
1 in 3 is considered overweight by the time when they're preparing to finish primary school. 1 in 3.
Well, I mean, I suppose it's a bit like the podcast we did the other day, wasn't it? It's like, are our addictions and our bad behaviours, have they rubbed off on our kids? And the thing is, if you've been massively overeating in lockdown, so are your kids.
Yeah. But British youngsters were already the fattest in Europe, but after 3 months, sugary snacks and screen time, they've piled on the pounds still further.
God, I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah. So there is that
But hey,
configuration. But
let's not
keep swimming pools
open.
closed.
Let's not open the outdoor swimming pools. But they
Yeah.
can spend the entire day jumping in and out of pools,
I know what we
doing
do.
HIIT exercise naturally.
Let's open the pubs for their parents.
Yes, and then they can sit in the car
And 'cause they
eating
can't go to
crisps
the
and
pub,
drinking
yes.
bottles of Coke.
And they can watch their parents drinking alcohol.
It's literally bonkers. I want to read that.
So yeah, so it's sort of
We need to do a campaign to
total
reopen our
contradictions around health.
I mean, when I think about our local outdoor pool, that is packed every summer. And actually, the area that it
Lido,
is,
yeah.
there's a lot of people around there without gardens. And kids go there and they spend the entire day jumping in and out of that pool.
Playgrounds are still closed. Playgrounds are closed, but you can go to a pub.
Oh, I'm so cross about this.
It's such
We'll do this on the
lunacy.
live today.
All right.
I've got a bit of a depressing story, but
Oh, okay.
I was so shocked by it. And I know when we get
You're
stories
right.
like this on Loose
Okay.
Women,
You don't usually do depressing stories, babe.
well, I just think it's about being a bit mindful. Now, I don't like people that feed off paedophile stories because it can whip people up. And television very much does that, whipping up, hate, string them all up. And Mark's mum, Nanny Di, worked with paedophiles in a prison, and she went in there. I've spoken about this before, and as a real bleeding heart. They must be understood and must be rehabilitated. She said after 2 months there, she said, no, they should never let them out again because it's such a deep, deep, deep illness. But this is a horrible sort of twist. Some of Britain's most notorious child sex offenders have been using various social media platforms to try and rebrand paedophilia as a harmless sexual preference. So they're doing a PR job and rebranding it, and they're calling themselves MAPS, Minor Attracted Persons, to try and escape the stigma attached to the word paedophilia, right? So they've even gone as far as creating their own rainbow MAP pride flag. What a terrible smear on the rainbow pride.
Oh.
I know, isn't it just so shocking?
I mean,
Using the LGBT community style slogans, hashtag MAP pride and MAP positivity. It's all seen as an attempt to cast paedophilia as society's wider move towards sexual liberation.
Well, so they're trying to suggest that it needs to have tolerance as a sort of
in a world of
form
tolerance
of
now.
sexual sort of
We are,
fluidity.
we are also coming forward as part of all the new movements for more tolerance. Have you ever heard anything more sick in all your life?
Well, again, it goes back to this idea that from within their point of view, there is absolutely nothing in their heads wrong.
Which is
with
the
what
very
they're
nature
doing,
of
which is the nature
paedophilia.
of
The very
disease,
nature of paedophilia.
Oh,
The good thing
I find
is
that
that
so
after
hideous.
this piece in the Mail, they the Mail have taken this information to various social media platforms, and they are hunting
Good.
out their information and taking it down.
Thank God, I hope so. I hope so.
disgusting.
Oh, bloody hell. Here we go. Here's a story that is coming out of the Black Lives Matter movement, and you were just talking about, I think, a woke move too far. This will be accused of being woke by some, but I think this is absolutely right on. The Simpsons in BLM rethink. Bart axes whites who voice blacks, and I think this is a fair point.
Yeah.
This example is TV cartoon The Simpsons says it won't use white actors to voice characters from ethnic backgrounds, and there's an issue around the Indian convenience store character Apu, who's played by Hank Azaria. Brilliant actor, he's a cracking actor. But as with Mike Henry, who plays Cleveland in Family Guy, there is a real kind of revolution and shake-up happening on animated, and there's a lot of cool animated shows, aren't there, of removing white actors doing people of colour's voices. And I think that's absolutely right. It strikes me as barking mad that hadn't happened sooner. Don't you?
Well, I think it's lazy casting directors that don't want to search hard enough to find good new talent.
Absolutely.
I think that's the problem. Sorry, can I just see that? Because I had... Look, talk about everyone's been planting their seeds and trying to be a bit more like the good life, haven't they? That's what the uber-rich billionaires do. Look, that's David Beckham. With all the kids... They're making their own...
Making their own honey.
But look at the outfits. Look, they've even got their... motifed outfits.
He doesn't look happy to me. I think he's grimacing because he's scared of bees. And he's trying to be a man.
Which leads me on quite nicely to this, of the Uber, they must be so wealthy. Double twin credible. Mum creates twin IVF foals for her horse-loving IVF twin girls.
Well, she's actively done that.
Yeah. So they are show jumpers. They're very talented show jumpers. I think they already... have been selected to represent Wales, and they're tipped to be the ones to watch. So their mum has this champion horse, these two champion horses that she's IVF'd them to get their own twin.
Now
that's
Daddy, I want a pony and I want a sister and I want a twin pony and a twin sister.
I want a twin brother and a pony and a paddock and I want one now.
If you could duplicate yourself, would you?
That'd be bloody stupid. Of course I wouldn't.
I would. It'd be really interesting. Okay, so for those of you worried about celebrities and actors and performers not making enough money in lockdown because they're not acting, on sale now you can have an audience with countless stars for a small fee, sometimes as much as £2,075 for Caitlyn Jenner. You can have a personalised message from people like Chris O'Dowd, Miriam Margolyes, Lena Headey from Game of Thrones, Lee McDonald. But look here, James Buckley, who plays Jay in The Inbetweeners, has earned £100,000 in lockdown by posting small films and sending them to people, insulting them.
For this cause, for actors?
No, it's not for a cause.
Oh, for himself?
No, for themselves. This is like an app called Cameo, I think it's called, where they can earn some money by recording messages for people.
Well, why don't we do that for the theatre? That could be our way to help theatre, young actors.
Oh, as a way of raising money, but they're doing it for themselves.
Well,
they're not raising money.
Oh, are they all doing it for themselves?
Yeah, Cameo was founded in 2017.
What about them?
All of them. Caitlyn Jenner, yeah, they're earning. It's their way. That's my point. This is how they're earning money without being able to act, perform, or do theatre. They're earning money by
earning their money. Oh, I see, because they haven't got any other way to earn money.
Offers personalised messages from actors, musicians, and sports stars. As a way to sort of, compensate the fact that they're not earning from being on the stage.
I wonder if we could do it to raise money for actors who aren't famous, who don't have a way of doing that.
We could, but who would want a message from us?
Patriotic picnic bag, fit for a TV queen. This is Jenna, what's her second name, Coleman, who played Queen Victoria, sat in Victoria Park
is that
with
the
her bag.
From The Cry?
Yes, she's
amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah. She's brilliant.
We love that.
And she was started in Emmerdale. She was in Emmerdale.
Yes, you said that. Yeah, bizarre.
So look at her bag. Do you like her bag?
No.
Jack?
No.
Take a guess how much that bag cost.
£3,500.
Oh, you saw it.
I didn't. Honestly, I didn't.
Yeah.
What was it?
3.5.
Oh my God! I swear to God, I did not see that. How did I've just got a sense of bags.
That is weird.
I know women's bags.
Yeah.
I really know women's bags. I could say definitely 3,500.
3,500.
Jesus.
Apart from anything else, I get a bit nervous just having anything, even my wedding ring in the park, but we do live in South London. But look, it's just chucked on the grass. Somebody could just run by and nick that. It has been proven. It's been the most elusive and frustrating thing for scientists over the last 70 years, and they finally worked out why men can't find the G-spot. It is not fair.
What does the G mean in G-spot?
Now, so the German gynecologist Ernst Grafenberg, who first decided that there was such a thing as a G
Does it say
spot,
what the G stands
was
for?
too embarrassed to have it called after his name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that detail.
Yeah, so it just became the G spot.
Grafenberg. Oh, but I prefer that. I prefer saying, I need to find the Grafenberg
The
spot.
Grafenberg.
The Grafenberg spot.
But I do think it's a bit odd that they did a study of only 17 middle-aged women and have found no evidence of such a spot, but a fairly even distribution
Maybe they
of
just
nerves
haven't
instead.
been. Maybe they just haven't been very good.
But it is all about the nerves. I mean, G-spot
missing all my games.
means where, you know, just a collection of extra nerves, so I suppose.
But maybe they just weren't in the mood. Maybe it was bad timing. Maybe they didn't approach it
Look
in the
at
right
this.
way.
It's also found that 22% of men said finding the woman's G-spot is the #1 goal of sex.
I think so.
Because
It's
they
like
want to show off.
No, they don't. It's about
Ego.
finding the X on the map, isn't it? It's like you're on a ship. There's the island. Let's find the X. There, we found the X.
Barry Komiskyuk from Rutgers University in New Jersey, who led one study, it is not like pushing an elevator button or a light switch. It is not a single thing.
And that's what a lot of women say every weekend. It's not a single thing, and you haven't found it. You're usually one for photo stories, but I like this one. Look, stat you want some. Look, so people are posing with statues.
Oh, that's good.
He's been beaten up by a cherub.
Oh, I love that.
Too brute. Look, Iron Man.
Oh, God,
Stone
that's...
Fist. But look at this one. I love that. We've got to do one. So find a work of public art.
Oh, I
Don't
love that.
vandalise it.
If any of you do it, can you post it on Instagram and tag us in?
Yeah.
We'd love that.
There you go. You got one more.
I've got a one for Joe Wicks, and this is going to make you really happy.
Is it?
Joe is about to be immortalised as a Madame Two Swords waxwork. So you will be able, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear husband here, to go and finally run your hands all
his nooks
over
and
the god.
crannies.
Yes.
I wonder if they'll let you touch it. Not
Do
that
you
I
know, it
want
takes
to.
4 months to make, and it costs £200,000.
And they never look like the person.
No, they do sometimes.
No,
That's
they
not
do
true.
sometimes.
I have been absolutely gobsmacked sometimes when they've come into the studio. What's her name? Daisy. What's her name who played the woman
Ridley.
in Star Wars? Yeah. Oh my God, it was like standing next to her.
Okay, well, I'm going to book into Madame Two Swords as soon as we come out of lockdown. I'm looking forward to that. Do you want to touch my crevices?
Yeah, because you know you should.
If you go round the back,
Mark,
there's a
why do you always have to do
there's
it?
a Grafenberg spot. Just
So about three.
what are you fiddling around on my shelves
Christmases
for?
ago, I was just wiping the dust off this. I bought this for Mark, right? And I said to him, every now and again you need to turn it over and take 15 minutes to just be, not to be working, not to be driving yourself crazy, not thinking about what you haven't done, what you should be doing, just to be. And it has never, ever been turned over.
I've never had 15 minutes, babe. Never, ever, ever.
I'm going to put this over there and I'm going to use it more often.
But for the next 15 minutes, Nadia Sawalha off the telly is going to cook a beautiful dessert. Tell us what it is. It's plant-based.
Hang on a minute, let me try and remember. Oh, it's a gorgeous lemon drizzle cake. Vegan, but it's so delicious. I made it and took it round to some friends the other day and everyone loved it, non-vegans and vegans.
Okay.
It's Dina's lemon drizzle cake you've been asking me for ages. Finally made it. With flowers.
Let's stay here for 15 minutes whilst it finishes. Have you got 15 minutes?
Quite a long time.
Precisely. You where someone slapped you on the arse.
Have they? Was it you?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? We haven't really had a chance to speak yet, have we?
No.
But I haven't even had a cup of tea.
I don't even know who you are.
Lots of you are going to be very happy today because ages ago, Dina, before lockdown, brought a vegan lemon drizzle cake over and it looked really, really lovely. And you've been asking me to make it. So she's finally sent me the recipe. So I am going to make it now. But I'm changing it to lime drizzle cake because I didn't like the look of my lemons.
You never do.
They just looked a little bit too dry and you're not going to get the nice zest and the nice flavour. So good news is I'm going to use lime and I'm just going to put my own twist on Dina's recipe. If you wanted to make this a lemon drizzle cake, do that. But let me just give you another little thing that you could add. Add a tablespoon of poppy seeds. Okay,
Can I just ask you, because I've never asked you this before, is a lime a young lemon?
you ask me it every single time. Mark, it's really annoying. Why don't you Google it?
Why don't you what?
Google it. First things first, because it's vegan, we're not using butter, we are using vegetable oil. So I've got a sunflower oil, 75 mils.
Ooh.
200 grams of caster sugar.
Will Leo be happy with this?
Leo will be very happy with this. And actually last week, I was reading your comments, a lot of people loved the veggie skew last week. I think we've neglected our vegetarians and our vegans a bit, so. I've forgotten what we've made for the main. Oh no, we made kedgeree. Well, the kedgeree, you can leave the fish out. You can do all the other stuff and leave the fish out. Okay, so that is our sugar and our oil. So if you think about it, usually with a non-vegan cake, you would beat together your butter and sugar.
We're
So
not
it's our
interested in
fat
that,
and
though, are
sugar.
we? We're not interested in a non-vegan cake.
It's our fat and sugar. Right, so next I'm going to put the flour in. So different from a normal cake, and just because we're not using any eggs, of course. So that's 250 grams of plain flour.
Even I don't believe this is going to work.
Yeah, it's amazing. 220 mils of plant-based milk. Ooh, doesn't that look horrible? I'm using oat milk, but you could use almond or soya. The best one for the planet, if you're conscious of the planet, almond milk is really bad for the planet.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely ravages the rainforest.
Oh, shit.
The best one is oat milk for the planet, and also it's higher in calories, but you've got the lowering of cholesterol in the oats.
Don't
so it's
know why,
good.
with your dungarees, you look like a vegan.
Yay! Well, I am plant-based.
No.
So a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. So we're using this instead of baking powder. I said to Dina, are you sure? No baking powder at all? She went, yep, just a teaspoon of bicarb. So in it goes.
Wow. This looks all so deceptively simple.
She said it's so wonderfully easy. Look how smooth it is. Right, next are flavourings. So this will of course have a icing on the top. We're going to do a lime drizzle and coconut topping. I'm going to take this straight out of the house afterwards so none of us eat it, and take it to my friend Hannah. I don't know if she's watching this, who is pregnant. We walked together up the Himalayas. She was one of the group. We've become really good friends. She had breast cancer really, really young, in her 20s. And they said she had no chance, makes me emotional, sorry,
Hattie.
of having a baby. She had a very, very small chance of having a baby. And she's pregnant, and she's due in a few weeks' time. And you know, she's had to go through all her pregnancy, through lockdown and COVID and hospital appointments. Wow. She even found a lump halfway through her pregnancy in her breast where she'd had a mastectomy. And she's vegan, she's plant-based because she's super healthy now. But it was all right, and it's a really joyful, joyful, joyful day today to go and see her. And what better than to take her a homemade cake. And you know, I always say when I'm cooking for people that I love, I always am thinking of them the whole time that I'm cooking, and I really think it makes a difference. When you cook when you're angry, nothing ever tastes as good, so just a little bit more. Because when we use plenty in the icing on the top. Give it a stir. I've got my prepared loaf tin. So I just put a little oil in there and then the baking paper to help it stick. Especially for you, Hannah. Better be good, Dina. Okay, so in it goes. So it's at 180, and Dina said check it at in about 45 minutes. So So in 45 minutes, she said, because it's weird, it depends on people's ovens. Sometimes it can take, 45, other ovens it could take 50. Okay, 45.
Can you do a vegan vibe?
A vegan vibe.
Yeah, I think people want to see vegan vibe. Oh, yeah, now. Oh, I like the vegan vibe.
Am I shining with health
You are.
and inner beauty?
But just don't fart.
Right, as usual, very annoyingly, I can't find something and I can't find my skewer. So I would normally put the skewer in to find out. I did check it at 45 minutes and it was getting a little bit too brown. So I put a bit of tin foil over it and I thought, oh, look at that. And I cooked it for another 10 minutes, I think, yeah. Clean. Has to come out clean and then you know it's ready. Ready?
Looks great.
Looks gorgeous, doesn't it?
Can I move it so I don't burn myself?
And it smells so nice. So what we want to do now is I should have really mixed it up before, it would have been a clever idea. But we're going to this is going to have 2 icings. So it's going to have a drizzle icing and then it's going to have a white icing on top. So we want 2 tablespoons of either lime juice or lemon juice, depending on what you're using. And then we're going to put 2 tablespoons.
Is it annoying?
Oh, look at that. That's lovely. I'm tempted to put a bit of mint in it. I think some mint would be nice, but I'm not sure. And 2 tablespoons of caster sugar. 1. 2. So you could just stop at this point and just have this as your drizzle. Holes throughout. So, see, I like that crusty sort of top. Some people don't, in which case just put a bit of foil over the top. I love that.
I do.
That's my favourite kind of cake. Hasn't it risen beautifully?
It's got a perfect crack down the middle.
I know. Hasn't it risen so beautifully?
Isn't that usually the baker's signature on a loaf? Do you remember?
Yeah, we've learned about that, didn't we?
In France.
This will. Now I'll just leave this in the pan. Just put a few more holes. Oh God, I could just tear off a piece of that.
Your pants?
I could just tear off a piece of that crusty bit now and eat it. So we'll just leave that to cool, and then it will have a second icing put on that you don't have to have. You could just leave it at this point. Right, I had a bit of a disaster, like I always do. And I dropped the coconut bag all over the floor, and you know what my floor was like today, so it's not a coconut and lime cake, but if you wanted to toast some coconut and put it on top of the icing, you could. This is just going to be a lime icing, not a lime and coconut icing. So I'm just going to put a bit more lime zest in. I've got to do this first because I need the juice. Ah!
Quite chaotic cook.
That's what we thought we'd call her, the chaotic cook.
Did you say that? Let's just come naturally. The chaotic cook.
You could put all the pages in the book in the wrong order.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'd probably find it really easy to find everything.
Of course you would. Babe, what are
Why
you
am
doing?
I going so fast? It's because I'm
In a
in
rush.
a hurry. Okay. So now I'm going to just squeeze. This will literally be lime juice and icing sugar. So I've got 200 grams of icing sugar. Should have sieved it, but didn't. I'm just going to squeeze a bit in. That's probably about a tablespoon.
Just resting, awaiting its icing.
It's icing. Just add a bit at a time. You don't want it to suddenly go too runny.
Dad, flash us a look.
They're bloody YouTubers. I didn't want them to be that.
Apparently I've hit 1 million on TikTok, Kiki says.
I know!
What did your friend Anya say?
Yeah, why does everything your dad always goes viral on TikTok?
So we've got the lovely drizzle underneath there. And now I'm just going to pour on the icing. I'm not going to do anything else to it. It can fall wherever it falls. For my very pretty, beautiful friend.
She is beautiful.
Who is going to have the most beautiful baby girl. I know it. Flowers.
Oh. Look at that. Oh, Kiki and Maddie would have loved that when they were little. Maybe put it in flowery. Maybe put it in flowery.
Here, put a flower on Mummy. Let me put the
Where next?
book.
Mine.
Yes.
I haven't done one for a few weeks because I've been writing one.
Off you go then.
All right. Hang on, last shot of that. Hey guys, it's the book review time. I haven't done this for a while. I haven't done it for a few weeks because I've been busy. So this week I am doing a review of a book called Bunny. Now, when I got this book, Nanny Di and Nadia were like, oh, I want to read it. It's by Mona Awad. Gets huge, big sort of plaudits and write-ups from Margaret Atwood, Leonard Dunham calls it delightful. So this is a book about Samantha Mackey, who is she's a sort of student on a sort of creative writing program at a university in America. So at this point, probably feels about as irrelevant to all of us as it possibly could. Well, not to me. I mean, I like writing. But so she's in a college system and she's a writer or an aspirant writer on a course. But she's in a class with these 4 or 5 incredibly bitchy sort of socialites. And a lot of people have compared this book to films like Clueless and Mean Girls. And what transpires is it becomes a book about the creative process, how pretentious people can be around creativity and writing. It's about cliques. It's about the sort of bitchiness and sort of almost cult-like sort of goings-on of a group of girls who seem to sort of, they're a bit threatened by our Samantha, the main character, but they're also a bit intrigued by her, and they sort of invite her into their group. Now, Samantha, the main character, has a good friend in a character called Ava. And really, it's quite a good book about, we've all been at those points in our lives where perhaps we've entered a college or a school or a university or whatever, or workplace. And we're pretty sort of certain what we are and who we are, and we have our friendships. But then our eyes are easily sort of tempted by another social group, or we sort of think that we want to belong to another clique or another club. And so really, this is about Samantha losing her way as she turns her back on her friendship with Ava, who's very cynical about all these kind of, posh girls, these bunnies, as they like to call themselves. But Samantha gets hooked in. She gets sort of trapped in their wily, creative, odd ways. And the book, a very odd book, because on the one hand, whilst it's a sort of straightforward-ish story of a girl, Samantha, becoming sort of tied up with and enamored with this group of cliquey girls, it's also a horror story. Because what starts to transpire is that this group of sort of, high society, cliquey girls that have got their ways of all hugging each other and talking all nonsense and wearing pink cupcakey type things and all that kind of stuff, they partake in these odd rituals, which involve sacrifices. I won't tell you too much what happens to the bunnies. They involve sacrifices. They involve all sorts of weird things with weird men, like they're sort of trying to create this sort of perfect slave-like man. Yeah, really weird. And so what transpires is across this book, it's about Samantha, the key character, being sort of brainwashed, brought into this group, and then trying to get out of it and reach back to her friend Ava. All sort of kind of coherent at this point. But then it dawned on me, as I was reading it dawned on me in about the last 50 to 70 pages, that actually, in many ways, there are huge sections of this book that are so hallucinogenic and weird and fractured and psychic and bizarre. It would make such a great sort of Netflix series, drama, or, a movie like Mean Girls, but there is this sort of horror contingent to it. And then I began to realise that why it was so sort of hallucinogenic and odd is that the whole book, I think, is really a metaphor for the creative imaginings of the key character.
you begin to wonder whether all the characters around her, all the goings on, all the things that have been happening around her have actually been an outward sort of expression of her inward inability to write, create. And so you've got these strange contorted zombie-like guys in it that are perhaps characters that Samantha, the creative writing student, can't give full character to. So they're sort of limping around this story. And so you've got these bunnies, these 5 horrible sort of elitist kind of cliquey mean girls who become these even more monstrous sort of caricatures of monstrosities and what have you. And then at the centre you've got Samantha, this strange character who lets all this stuff sort of happen to her. And you begin to realise that in many ways this is a book about writing the book, and this book is an articulation of the character's inner mind. And so the book becomes this sort of really helter-skelter, whizzy, hallucinogenic, strange, bizarre, twisted, frightening, horrific. There's suicide, there's abuse, there's death, there's chopping up, there's morphing of things into other things. It's just weird. I mean, it's plain weird, and it gets weirder and weirder and weirder. But what you realise is almost the book form begins to fall to pieces as her mind falls to pieces. And so in many regards, I wonder if this book, Bunny, is sort of Mona Award's way of coming to terms with the fact that she couldn't write a book, and this is the book that came out of not being able to write a book, so to speak. Fascinating, frustrating, engaging, frightening, creepy, odd, twisted, very, very clever and good in terms of its observations of cliques of young women. It will definitely become a mini-series on Netflix or something like that. It refers out to films like Heathers, and Christian Bale, the character in that. It is quite Heathersy. It has a vibe of the Virgin Suicides about it. It has a little bit of that film that I absolutely loved, Thoroughbreds. It's about sort of high society. It's about the weird psychosis and psychotic nature of cliques and groups and young women.
Teddy talks. Oi, come back.
I'm putting the thing here.
Tell us, where's Teddy?
Teddy Talks met me in the garden earlier today. Maddie and I had a little coffee with him, and we had such a lovely chat.
Oh.
Here it is.
Oh. Sorry, I was still waiting for the 15 minutes bell.
So this is to definitely maybe. Do you remember I said I would read your message to Teddy? I've got it. I've got him here. Look. We brought him here by wild horses. No, actually a date stuffed with peanut butter got him here. And a cappuccino. So, my message, if I may, is for Teddy. This was people were asked to give their messages for their fathers, but she, instead of giving it to father, she wanted to give it to you. So my message, if I may, is for Teddy, who reminds me so much of my lovely dad, who I lost nearly 3 years ago. My dad was a farmer, so maybe not the flamboyant scarves, pink beret and exotic accents, but Teddy's gentle nature, his positive and thoughtful approach to life, lovely smile and sense of fun. I see my dad in a lot of what Teddy says and does. Like Teddy, my dad also had the ability to enthrall any audience, talking with great wisdom about the simplest of things and making them so interesting. Teddy Talks is my favourite part of the Sunday show, and every week I watch Teddy with a lovely mix of crying and smiling as I'm reminded of my amazing dad. Watching Teddy Talks is my comfortable, happy place. Isn't that lovely? I would really love Teddy to know that being able to borrow and share him a little bit with you all in this virtual world means that he genuinely helps someone in the real world to smile and remember her own dad that she desperately misses so much.
Very humbling, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful?
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank
you.
You've got us both crying, you have, because it's so beautifully and articulately written as well, eloquently written.
Yeah.
And I think Mark and I have always wanted to find a way to encapsulate what Teddy is, what we all know Teddy is. And over the years, many people have, should we do a series? Should we do a book? Should we do this? Should we do that? And I think Teddy Talks just gets you. It just
Yeah.
gets you in a nugget. And I do feel like we share you with people. So it's a really beautiful message. Thank
I
you.
look forward to sharing it with you. You know, because it explains something for me as I open it out. I'm not looking for an answer from anybody. I'm looking for an answer from myself.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, it's
I'm
funny
very
you
lucky.
should say that, because when the subs say to us, oh, thank you so much for all you do on this channel and everything, we always say to them, you don't know what it does for us, because we have to interrogate ourselves. We have to, you know, you have to discover what you're willing to share and not share about yourself. It's an amazing, like, two-way street, actually. And
Well, they say the greatest courtesy in life is to be listened to and to listen to other people.
oh. So what are you going to talk to us about today?
Families. Now we are in lockdown as well. Families become more important, you know. We can study each other. And
Good
think
and bad.
think about well, when you were in your teens, my three daughters, Maddie, my three daughters, your aunties, your mum and two aunties, they were grumbling about family. You know, we must go and see the family. We all sit down and have a meal with the family. We're fed up with the family, and I had to think of an answer. And at the time, this was a few years back, I said a family to me is like the central heating. You don't have to sit on it to feel the warmth of it.
Oh.
You know, that's it's mom and dad. They lead a group of people, a home, and the home must have all the freedom possible, all the platforms possible for the individuals to express themselves. But when you need them, they must be there, because it is dreadful when they're not there. And I probably experienced that in my early days as a student. When I left my family, left my country and traveled 3,000 miles away, I suddenly thought, I miss my family. And probably I promised myself then that I would never expose myself to that situation again. So we just have to see a family with all its troubles. Families are full of troubles, but life itself is full of troubles. But we have to tolerate each other. You know, we don't have to sit on each other to love each other and to feel the warmth and the friendliness of each other. It's very, very important. You must never, ever, I believe no individual must ever find himself or herself unaided, without the possibility of aid, you know, something being there. So that's my opinion of my family. And even at this age, I value it more than ever, you know. But there are, of course, other ideas of my families. Philip Larkin, for example.
Oh, we love Philip Larkin, don't we, Maddie?
Well, he says, you know, your parents, they fuck you up, they do.
I love that part.
You know, you have to take that on board as well, you know. But another idea I have, I think you should address the children and say it is your duty towards your parent to help them as well, because they might be fucked up and confused by their parents.
Oh, I always think
You know,
that.
so you have to be there to help them, and not to say, oh yeah, you know, they're not doing anything for me. It's what can you do for them as well. You know, because that gives you purpose in life. It gives you a sense of dignity, to give you a sense of purpose as well. Because some parents are, you know, incapable because they haven't had the experience. They're impatient. They want to get on with their own life. Fine, you've got to understand them as much as you want them to understand you.
Yeah.
You know.
You know what Mark and I always say to the kids? We say we're just adult children, just trying to work out how to do it. Everything that we do with you as children, we're doing it for the first time.
Yeah.
We haven't got the experience. We're learning on the job.
Of course, every parent is learning on the job. And that's why parents need a bit of patience, love and tolerance.
Yeah.
You know, to help them to arrive at a point where they're comfortable.
I always say, like, it's like with you and Mum, you know, being great parents, but if there's things that have pissed me off about you, I always look at it and go, my God, look at how much you've had to change and move with the times, and your own parenting, both of you, was so different. And then I always just feel fine about everything, because I think it's totally incredible what you've done compared to how you were brought up.
When I went to college, I think I was 19 or 20, and I went to, we used to have lodging houses. I don't know whether, you know, I lodged with a family. And the first time we sat at dinner, I think he's the town clerk. He was a good man. He was a responsible man. And we sat at dinner, and their son and daughter sat with us, and the mum and the dad. And we were talking, and the little girl interfered in the society where I came from. That girl should not have appeared at the table to begin with.
Why?
Because, you know, you don't want little ones to be with the adults.
Oh, I see.
And
right.
if she's a girl, that doubles her problem.
Yeah.
So, and the father, with great grace, leaned forward and said, "Do you really think so?" And I thought, what's going on here? You know? The father is being enlightened by I think she was either 6 or 8, no more. And I probably registered that very strongly in my mind as a lesson I should remember.
Because you'd never had that when you were growing up, were you? You always said you weren't told anything as children. It's just, everything just happened.
No. I mean, when I was 6 or 7, my granddad died. And I was quite friendly with him, you know. But nobody told me anything.
Oh.
I was like a creature, you know, between other people's legs and feet, trying to find out what happened.
Oh.
You know? So it's that kind of society, you know.
Yeah.
Changed now enormously, different world altogether. But in that world, it
A long
was,
time ago.
you know, kids were not given the respect and affection they should have.
Well, you gave us that.
Well, we tried.
You've always listened to me.
We tried. One thing I wanted to give you the platform to express yourselves. And if you're hesitant, you need to be pushed forward a bit, you know. A child needs to be provided with the means with which to move forward. And some kids go, you know, they move without any help. Others need help, and that's parents should be there to help them. And you've helped us enormous amount. All of you have helped us wonderful times we've had with you.
Oh God,
you know,
yeah.
Oh yeah. And
Great
that's
life.
very important, you know. You don't just give, you receive as well.
So how do you feel about your peanut butter stuffed date then?
Oh.
Apparently, even doing this is good for you. But actually have to stand on the trampoline and bounce.
Babe, you always do things that are very, very, very suggestive.
Mark! I could stand and fart and you'd think it was suggestive.
I wouldn't find that suggestive.
Anyway.
So another show is done, 25, which is halfway to 50, which in itself is halfway to 100,
Oh, 50
which
we'll
means
have to do
25 is a
something,
quarter of the way to what?
100.
Yeah.
And what are you reviewing next week? A book on Alzheimer's, is that right?
Yeah, I'm reading a book on Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's the Solution. I'm going to do some health books because lots of people
I
here.
think as long as you remember to review it, that's great. So it was a great show. Thanks, guys. Really good fun. I'm now
guys.
plant-based.
He's not. Only when it's lemon drizzle
I'm going to
cake.
eat plant-based steak later and plant-based fish and chips. And I'm looking at a pigeon so large, I want to put it in a pigeon pastilla.